Hey, how's it going? It's really early in the morning, and I'm just back from a martial arts trip, a seminar. A buddy asked me to look at a video and tell him what I thought about it. And I'm tired, so my filter is off, so I'm probably going to just say the things that pop right into my head. This might not be really politically correct. I don't have my favorite video editing program isn't working right now, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a reaction. I'm going to play this YouTube video. I got to look at the title. Ugh, we're in for a doozy. And I'm going to give you my straightforward reactions as they happen, the thoughts as they happen. And I'm going to upload it because it's really all that time I have to do right now. Um, but I meant what I said about doing responses when people come and when you want to have me talk about something or you want me to give feedback on something or give you my thoughts. That's what I do. I don't have a weekly podcast. I don't think that I'm called to do that. I just try to love people the best I can, and that means if somebody has a question, I try to answer it. And I was asked what I thought about this video, and now I haven't watched it yet. I've caught like the first 30 seconds. um, so we'll talk. I think my answers might surprise you. I don't know. Honestly, with the person who asked me, the young man who asked me this, I don't know what he believes or thinks about it. But we'll dig into it. Spoiler alert, this is not going to be politically correct territory at all. Calling up YouTube.
The media and school system has told you all your life that Adolf Hitler was the most evil man to ever live.
Nope. Oh, well, I don't get my truth from the media and the school system. I can't say who is or isn't the most evil person ever to live without figuring out what makes someone evil. Now, I'm a Christian. I'm an old medieval style Christian. So I take maybe different things seriously than is really popular. I do believe that Hitler was evil. I don't think he was the most evil person ever to live. The only English Bible I have with me right now is my NIV. It's not my favorite translation, but all my better Bibles aren't in English, and I'm too tired to translate. So this is Paul, the founder of the Christian church. This is what he had to say about, if you really feel a need to rank who was the worst person ever. He sets a good example. This is out of 1 Timothy chapter 1. I thank Jesus Christ our Lord, who has given me strength, that he considered me faithful, appointing me to his service, even though I was once a blasphemer and a persecutor and a violent man. I was shown mercy because I had acted in ignorance and unbelief. The grace of our Lord was poured out on me abundantly, along with the faith and love that are in Christ Jesus. Here's the punchline. Here's a trustworthy saying that deserves full acceptance. Christ Jesus came into the world to save sinners, of whom I am the worst. So for one thing, in the Bible that's the basis of my beliefs, this guy who talked to God and was the founder, of most of the Christian church outside of Judaism, said that he's the worst sinner. And if I follow his example, I'm the worst sinner that I know of. I'm the most evil person that I know of. Not necessarily because I've killed more people. If it's body count, Hitler isn't the most evil because Stalin and Mao killed way more people in the name of socialist and communism and liberalism than Hitler ever did. If it's in terms of hatred, then heck, for that matter, abortions killed more people than in America alone than Jews have gone to prison. So Jews were executed, and so I think America would be more evil than Germany, and you're just going for body count. So you have to decide how you're going to really judge what's evil. If you just want to go by your emotions, hey, it's real easy to hate Hitler because he was really effective and flashy at being evil. But the Bible says there's really only two kinds of people. There's people whose sins go before them, right? People we know are really evil. It's really easy to say Hitler was really evil. It's really easy to say that murderer, that kidnapper, that child molester was really evil. The other category of people whose sins follow after them, There are no innocent people, there's no good people in and of themselves. There's people who have really big, flashy, nasty sins, and there's people who have quiet, hidden sins. But bottom line, we're all just evil. But we're going to look at a video of Hitler, so we're going to. Having said that, now I'm going to keep going on this apparently pro-Hitler video, and I'll give you my best reactions.
Unfortunately, you were told lies and you most likely believe them. Hitler is very rarely accurately portrayed. You know.
Yeah, I don't actually go so much in for portrayal. When I want to find out what somebody really thinks, I want to go to what's called original source material, right? I like to watch his public speeches. I will look at somebody's public speeches to see what they think. Look at what they write and look at what they do. That's original source material, right? We have evidence. Like if I committed a murder, the physical stuff of the murder would be evidence against me. If I plotted a murder or ad said murder was great, my speech arguing for murder would be evidence against me. Right? And that is more than enough to go. Like, I don't need to go to movies. This video is showing pictures of books and videos, about Hitler. I don't need to go there. I've listened to his speeches, and out of the mouth of his own word, and this is the standard that God said he's going to use for us, judge us by our own standards, judge us by the words we speak. His own words are all the evidence that I need to believe that he's evil. But let's keep going to see where the video is going. So I don't go for the media. I don't listen. I learned a long time ago to double check what my teachers taught me. Sometimes I find out that they were wrong. Sometimes I find out they were right. My dad was a World War II veteran, and so growing up, I knew people who lived and fought and died during World War II, and so I talked to eyewitnesses. I have listened to interviews of death camp survivors, people who were almost put in ovens, and so eyewitnesses' accounts is first-hand evidence. This isn't propaganda. It isn't something else. This is the kind of evidence that is acceptable in a court of law and could send somebody to go be hung or shot or gassed or locked away in prison forever. It's good always to keep track of where you're getting your sources. We're 13 seconds in, folks.
Now, even Churchill once said that the victors write the history books. Well,
that's true. Victors tend to write the history books, but not all history books are written by the victors. Some history books are written by the escapees. It's also worthwhile to read people's original source material. It's good to read what their enemies say. It's good to read what their allies say and make your own conclusions.
we hear about Hitler through the media and the school system is extremely biased because they don't want to offend the Jews.
Okay, now right there, we've jumped off of good logic. You can't back that up. The statement that everybody's telling you this because they don't want to offend the Jews. That's not actually true. You can't prove what somebody else wants unless they've stated it, and there's no statement of that. As a matter of fact, in America, in particular, and in Europe, and in the Western civilization, acts of violence against Jews are going up and up and up and up, and nobody seems to care. So the idea that there's this vast conspiracy that just wants to appease this one ethnic group, it doesn't fly. So I don't believe the video right there. We'll keep going.
In this video, I'm going to tell you the truth. This is why Hitler was not evil. In fact...
Okay, I don't think Hitler is evil because the media said bad things. I think Hitler is evil because of the evidence. But we'll keep going.
He was the opposite of that. He was a very strong leader and a brilliant man.
Okay. Whether or not he's brilliant, I don't know. But whether he was a strong leader, he absolutely was a strong leader. But strength isn't goodness. In psychology, there's a term called salience. It's like what we want fathers to be, to have healthy sons. You need to be strong, but you need to be good. And together they form this base, for the pyramid that children can grow up healthy out of. And Hitler was strong. Hitler was absolutely strong, but he wasn't salient. He wasn't good. He wasn't kind. He didn't. Almost most of the organized religions have some echo of the true religion, saying, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Love your neighbor as yourself. Hitler did not pass this fundamental test of ethics. So he doesn't pass by Judaism standard. He doesn't pass by Christianity standard. He doesn't pass by Buddhism standards. Basically the only religion or organized religion that got along really well with Hitler was the Middle Eastern Muslims of the Middle East, and their ethics have been for the last 1,000 years to kill all Jews and Christians whenever they can get away with it. So, in Muhammad's dying words in Muslim tradition were curse and have vengeance on Christians and Jews. So outside of militant Islam, I can't think of a major world religion that would look at Hitler and say he was good. Now look at everything he accomplished, pulling Germany out of this crushed status and rebuilding its energy. All that is strong, but strong isn't good. Darth Vader was really strong. He wasn't good until he was forgiven, and that and his son's love changed him and brought him out of darkness. The Emperor was really, the Emperor Palpatine in Star Wars, really, really strong. Not good at all. So when you hear strong and good, that's always a red flag in my head. We'll keep going.
Adolf Hitler truly cared about his people and his country that he institutionalized.
Okay, you can care and be wrong. You can care and be evil. People aren't just red light, green light, right? There aren't only really, really good people and really, really bad people, because again, as a Christian, I believe people are fundamentally bad. But on top of that, caring or even loving someone doesn't make what you do good. If you watch the movie The Giver, there's these caring, kind, gentle people. The dad in the story of The Giver is a caring, kind, gentle person who poisons babies to death and puts their bodies in incinerator chutes and doesn't know that what he's doing is murder in that story. But he's still killing babies. So even though he thinks he's being caring and kind, I don't have a lot of time to beat on that drum. I think I've made the point. We'll keep going.
After all, Nazi is a slur for National Socialist. National Socialism is a worldview and philosophy of nature.
True.
Nationalism is the individual's responsibility towards the community and their love for the country. Socialism is the community's responsibility and love towards the individual. Now, this video is making a really good point that most people in America don't know about, and that is National Socialism is very Nazi is a sort of the National Socialist Workers Party, actually, and they have most of the same beliefs as Bernie Sanders, or modern Democrats share almost all the beliefs of Hitler's National Socialist Party, with the two exceptions. Hitler's National Socialist Party was for a strong industry and military, and the modern American left is against the military and industry. And racism is much quieter in the modern American left, although they still tend to define everyone by race. As a matter of fact, Planned Parenthood, founded by Margaret Sanger here in the United States, was specifically founded to wipe out black people by aborting their babies. And more than 2/3 of if you look at the ratio of how many children are aborted in America, it's sky high for among the black population, and it was always planned to be that. She was what was called a eugenicist. She believed in this evolutionary idea that white people were better than all the other races, same thing as Hitler, and that it was their evolutionary duty to advance humanity by wiping out the other inferior gene pools. Same thing as Hitler. So that's a good point, and people who are real strong, gung ho for here's the aspects of the National Socialist Party: abortion on demand. Hitler was for Hitler's Nazi Party was for it. Gun control. Hitler's Nazi Party was for it. They had all the guns, and once they had all the guns, they could say all the Jews get in the boxcar. We're going to kill you all. The government controlling industry. Both Donald Trump and the American left are part of this. They totally believe in that. Same as Hitler. So everybody keeps hearing how right-wing Hitler was, but if you actually look at what his party's platforms were, they sound a lot more like, the Hillary Clinton campaign than they do what you would hear out of, Ronald Reagan. If you want to look at his speeches, this is the kind of the definition of old conservatism in America. Socialism is also the idea that now they don't say this, but socialism goes further than just saying the community is responsible and loving towards the individual. But socialism says basically the collective, the group, is more important than the individual. So for the group's good, you can do whatever you want to the individual. And this kind of just showed up in the movie I watched, the Captain America Civil War. For the good of the group, we can make slaves out of the superheroes. And they're not allowed to help if we don't say they can help. They can't leave if we say they can't leave. They can only go and do what we tell them to do. That is slavery. And that was one of the ideas that came up. And that kind of oppression showed up under National Socialism. It showed up under the socialist republics of the communist nations in the 20th century. But the video is pro-Hitler, so he's not going to talk about that little ugly detail. Keep going on.
Basically, the one who does the most for the community has the highest social status, instead of the one with the most money.
Now, I wish you could see the video. Needless to say, the one with the most money is this. They picked a picture of a black man dressed up as a rapper or a gangster sitting on a pile of money. And innocent Hitler in this picture is holding a cute little Aryan baby who's blonde-haired and blue-eyed, so he doesn't have to kill her. Oops, did I say that out loud?
Along with that was a process of class unification, ending the concept of class struggle. Hitler took the broken republic Germany became after the First World War and turned it into one of the greatest empires ever.
That's a point. A lot of evil things in history have been meant to correct an actual recognizable evil, right? The law broke down in the 12th, 13th, early 14th century, and you had vigilantes killing one another. 80% of people brought to court couldn't be convicted. So you had people everybody knew was guilty walking free, and so their family would go kill them, and then that guy's family would go kill that family, and back and forth. And they turned to the church and said, well, our system is broken down, and the church has a judicial system. Can we have that? And the church said, the Inquisition is not meant for normal law. It's really not. And they said, we don't have anything better. And the church goes, okay, but there was a legitimate problem. Germany was completely screwed over by the Treaty of Paris that ended World War I. Because it wasn't enough to end the war. All the people who had won, they wanted to get those. They wanted to rub their nose in the dirt. They wanted to make sure that Kaiser Wilhelm could never happen again. You're not allowed to have any industry. You're not allowed to grow anything. All right. And the result of this was extreme poverty. The economy crashed. There was at one point the paper money that was getting printed was so worthless that we have a record of somebody who had a basket full of money, threw the money out to get 2 loaves of bread to bring home, because an entire basket full of printed money was worth less than 2 loaves of bread. So there was a genuine problem, and people turned to strong but not good instead of strong and good to fix it. And a lot of times if you get into history, you will learn that some of the most terrible things that ever happened as a result of genuine issues, but you got bad solutions. and Hitler was a bad solution to a genuine problem.
Before the Nazis came to power, the unemployment rate was at a record high. People resorted to drugs and prostitution. The country was in an absolute mess. People knew they needed change, and that's why Hitler had so much support.
The people knew. That's a pretty good summary. People did know they needed change. Hitler promised change, and he got a great support. That's going on both sides of the American political issue right now. This is broken. We need a fix. And and you say you have a fix, so we're going to go with you. Well, what if your fix ends up poisoning, all of law and government for the next 100 years? I don't care. We have to do something, and you're doing something. If you're in a sinking boat, somebody points a gun at the bottom of the boat and says, I'm going to shoot more holes in the bottom of the boat. Say, no, that's a bad plan. And he goes, well, it's something, and I have to do something. Bam, 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 bam. You see how that logic kind of falls apart? But one of the reasons Hitler was able to come to power was that you had a generation grown up with that their faces ground into the dirt. Everybody's like, you guys were evil, so you should always punish. You should always be punished. It's kind of the way we've had a generation of white people in America growing up, and everybody's saying if you have a penis and your skin is pale, then you are responsible for every bad thing every penis having pale skin person has ever done in history. It's all your fault. Come here, you evil person, and suffer. Well, you're going to get people who get fed up with that. And you get people reacting out of anger instead of out of thought. That happened a lot with the rise of Hitler. But remember, a genuine problem, this wrecked economy, this national shame, and the anger and resentment of helplessness, they would turn to whoever could deliver. And Hitler could deliver with strength, but he couldn't deliver with goodness. You need strength and goodness.
When Hitler came to power, he freed Germany from the most destructive force the world has ever known, the international Jewish community, which
And I repeat, no, you can't compare the fact that, there's no evidence. This doesn't offer any evidence. There never has been any evidence. Conspiracy theories. It's stupid to say there can never be a conspiracy. There have been some. You could basically say that the Medici family was a living conspiracy. But going straight to hating Jews isn't reason. It's not logic. And you notice they're not going to give any evidence. Well, maybe they will. We'll see, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
like Germany before Hitler rose to power and is today corrupting everything that is of positive nature.
And here we go with the broad, sweeping generalizations. Instead of giving evidence, now we're appealing to this idea that they're everywhere and they're corrupting everything, and anything good they hate. Bullshit. I mean, that's not thinking. It's not even thinking. I can't say it's logical thought. It's not even thought. Yay. All right. Bullshit. Just bullshit. Because she hasn't given any explanation, hasn't given me any logic, hasn't given any examples, I can't refute any examples, so all I can do is say bullshit. And really, that's all that deserves.
In order to prevent that from happening, the Jews declared war on Germany as soon as Hitler got elected.
The Jews declared war on Germany. No. And the evidence of this is a clipping from a racist, it looks like a racist American magazine. right? This is like, instead of giving us an original source document, right? Like, if I want to know what Hitler says, I will go get my hands on a translation of Hitler's speech. Instead of giving an original source document, of giving an original source or showing a speech or showing me the declaration of war, they're showing basically a KKK newspaper from the World War II era, from the 1930s, saying that Jews have declared war on Hitler. That's bad. That's false evidence. Right? That's not a first-hand account. It's not an eyewitness account. It's a news summary of people who already agree with me from a country where where they couldn't have been an eyewitness, but it's one of the places where the paper could be preserved. So bullshit again.
Despite the tremendous economic disadvantages that came along with that, he still managed to put 6 million unemployed Germans back to work. Hitler
Unemployment was part of the depression that was going on, and when he took over all of the businesses with the government, and they would come in with guns and say, "We own this, we own this factory," and hey, you gave a lot of money to me in my political campaign. You own the factory. Now, they had a lot of people they could put into power, because one of the things that Hitler did right away after he was elected is he took approximately 220,000 people who had protested against him or who had been heard to talk about it, and he killed them. And these tended to be people who had money, who had industry. He seized the people he murdered, he took, and then he handed those out like prizes to his backers, to his lackeys. And he could demand then that those businesses that depended on him and his thugs and his guns, he could demand that they would do whatever they wanted, whether or not the economy really worked. Because of the commandment to love one another like brothers, like treat others as we would want to be treated. That's why I'm actually suffering through this video. It's because I care. This hurts to watch.
Hitler made Germany the most prosperous nation on earth. Hitler also noticed that the German birth rates were critically low, so he encouraged German women to become mothers and wives.
German being defined by National Socialist. But he also had abortion on demand. That was part of his platform, and we're not going to mention that. That's why the birth rate was really, really low, among other things.
Often in propaganda pieces, you will see mothers being portrayed as heroes. Hitler himself supported traditional family values.
It doesn't make you an amazing... Yeah, and I don't argue family values. Pro-family doesn't make you good any more than pro-nation makes you good, because you could be pro-nation if your nation is the evil galactic empire. Being really supportive of the galactic empire didn't make you virtuous. If you were a big supporter of Hitler's Germany, you weren't righteous. You were assistant to murder. If you were part of Pol Pot's, he exterminated like a quarter of his population in communist revolution with the Khmer Rouge. Being really pro-family and then sending your kids out to ethnically cleanse the Hutus or the Tutsis. You can be really pro-marriage and having babies and still be a complete evil fascist schmuck like Hitler. Family values don't make you right. Family values means you care about the family unit, and that's fine, but families have been killing families for a very long time, and it isn't enough to make you good in and of itself.
He recognized that families are the primary unit around which a functioning society is built. To encourage Germans to marry and start a family, he passed a law that enabled married couples
Aryan Germans, because remember, he wanted to kill all of the lesser ones.
To obtain interest-free loans of a minimum of 1,000 Reichmarks, which is equal to 9 months' salary, for each child the couple gave birth to. The couple didn't have to repay 250 marks. Hitler was a very compassionate man.
A lot of evil people are compassionate to people like them. That's really easy. Somebody who I hate, who I disapprove of thoroughly, who gets a good feedback in modern American history is a Native American man named Tecumseh, where I'm from Ohio, and the first thing he did before he went and attacked white settlements is he led this religious and ethnic purge through the Ohio River Valley. He went and he found every Christian Indian that he could find, him and his alcoholic, hallucinating stepbrother, and they slaughtered every Christian Indian they could find, basically within their political reach. And then they went to war with the white man. And it's really popular to say he was defending his people. Well, yeah, all the people who were left, and that's the same problem I have with Hitler. German families, and now Aryan families is what he was arguing for, not Jewish families who grew up in Germany. Definitely not, definitely not gypsy families living in Germany. Not families of immigrants living in Germany. Nope. Ethnically German, Aryan, superior, racist bullshit families. Oops, we shouldn't mention that.
Know this because he cared for animals.
He's feeding Bambi. It's a picture of him feeding Bambi. He must be good because Walt Disney tells me so.
Himself was a vegetarian. In fact, the Nazis created the first animal rights laws and banned animal experimentation.
That's true, but people they didn't think were animals, people they thought were less than animals, they would torture to death. These people would tie Jewish women down to a table in prison camps and cut them apart slowly to do experiments to see how much pain it took to kill you. But hey, I won't kick a puppy. I'll peel a human being, but I won't kick a puppy. That means I'm good, right?
Hitler loved German Shepherds. Here's my favorite video of him with a bunch of German Shepherd puppies running around him.
Yeah, in a mansion in Austria, which he took over by force of arms, which he didn't own because he was a poor artist, but the artisans who would have lived there either joined him to keep from getting murdered or he had killed them and taken their home. Oops, did I say that out loud?
So cute. In 1934, Hitler passed a law which regulated how many animals could be killed via hunting per year and to establish proper hunting seasons.
You see how messed up the priorities here? This is a guy who's, I will preserve the animals, I will preserve the animals, I will kill my own species. Even from Darwinian standards, leave Christianity out of this. Leave Western civilization out of this. Let's look at it in terms of pure evolution. A biological organism whose priority are to slaughter its own organism while protecting other species is FUBAR. It's completely messed up.
This law has now been adopted by most Western countries. The Nazis also created the first environmental protection laws in history. The German Imperial Conservation Law of 1935 was passed, which protected remaining portions of landscape in free nature whose preservation on account of rarity, beauty, distinctiveness, or on account of scientific, ethnic, forest, or hunting significance lies in.
And here's this all or nothing idea again, right? Because I did something good, I have to be good. I can't do something good and turn around and do something bad. Because people are all good or they're all evil. And this works really great if you never think, or if you've never met anybody, or if you have no siblings. I love my sisters and my brothers. There are many things that they do that are really admirable. But man, I could tell you the shit they got up to, it would make your head, you would blush up to hear. People aren't binary constructs, right? They aren't all white, all black, immorally. They aren't all good, all evil. It isn't a BioWare game where you have the moral compass that gives you bonuses. I know of a guy who was a convicted rapist, and he was so polite. So what if he was polite? What if he led an animal shelter? If he killed people in his spare time? You don't get to, because I'm almost incoherent with anger at this video. I'm having a hard time forming sentences because I mostly want to just put my foot through my laptop. I can't afford to buy another one, and it makes me want to cry that people think this way. But on the other hand, this is a great argument for free speech, right? This is why you don't want to shut down somebody who has hate speech. You want the people to hear them so that you can point out how they're complete evil schmuck apologist loonbags like this video. You can point out, or just let people hear how evil this is, and how fucked up this is. I burned 6 million people in ovens, but I preserved the trees. That means I'm really a good guy. Oh my god, no.
The general interest. Hitler didn't only care for the health of animals, but he also cared for the health of his fellow German citizens.
Aryan citizens, not Jews, not homosexuals, but yeah, gay rights people. He slaughtered everyone, every homosexual he could get his hands on. He killed all the gypsies he could get his hands on. Take that, cultural diversity. Oh, and he killed 6.5 million Jews, and probably was responsible for the death of 20 million people as he sent armies all across Europe and Asia and Africa. But hey, he visited a hospital. He's totally a good guy.
Hitler was very straight edge. He did not drink or smoke. While serving
I don't drink or smoke. Do you count the ovens that I burned 6.5 million Jews in?
in the military during World War I, he often talked to his fellow soldiers about the dangers of alcohol and tobacco. Hitler encouraged the
You know who else was against alcohol and tobacco? The Puritans. The same generation that they were holding the Salem witch trials and burning innocent people at the stake. Oops, did we say that out loud?
first anti-smoking campaign ever, and Nazi doctors were the first to write a major scientific paper linking smoking tobacco to lung cancer.
They hate smoking. That makes them good. They like smoking Jews in furnaces. Oops.
Hitler wanted his citizens to be happy and healthy. That is
His citizens, defined as his race, looking like his ideal, with his skin color, speaking his language, and only his race, his skin color, his language, and his political party. He is willing to kill everyone else.
why he was the first to create socialized healthcare.
Yeah. Because once the government controls who gets medicine or not, your life depends on making the government happy. It is impossible to be free under social health care. When the government runs the doctors, the only way you get medicine is if you toe the line, slave.
Also strongly encouraged competitive sports among the youth, and the results of what could be seen in the 1936 Olympic Games. Germany won most gold, silver, and bronze medals, completely overshadowing all of its competitors.
Our sports scores are totally better than yours, so it doesn't matter how many people we put up against the wall and shot with machine guns.
Hitler loved art since he was an artist himself.
Hitler was denied. Hitler wanted to be an artist. Hitler was laughed out of his application to go to college as an artist. But he was an artist. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He supported many German artists. Also, the Nazis made
many German artists. The one who belonged in his party, the ones who would portray him as Jesus, the ones he hadn't killed, the ones he hadn't burned alive.
so many innovations to film and science in general. Like, did you know that Nazis created the first ever jet engine?
The picture for the first ever jet engine was the V-1 rocket, used to attack civilians, women, and children across the English Channel in London and in the English coast. The picture for the first rocket is the immense freaking cannon used to bombard the people who dared not be ruled by him, because those people all needed to die. Oops, we're going to show you the weapons of mass destruction. We're going to show you the effective practice plan to kill women and children in London. But we're not going to tell you why. It doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter this is a way of attacking civilians, slaughtering the helpless. No, what matters is we were really inventive about it.
Adolf Hitler also didn't want his citizens overworking themselves, so he funded numerous workers' welfare programs, like vacation trips, a free radio for every citizen, and he was the first to introduce
Obama phone! Obama phone!
the 40-hour work week. Also, he made it so that every large factory had to provide rest areas, cafeterias, dressing rooms, even...
Unless you were one of the many, many businesses run by enslaved Jewish workers shipped out from prison camps, worked to death, and kept in kennels. Oh, oops. But they don't count because this is Germans, and we can just decide you're not a German, and then you don't count because you don't deserve the same protection that I want to give Bambi. I could peel you alive as a science experiment. Remember? Oops.
playing fields and swimming pools for its workers. You're probably thinking that's nice that Hitler gave the Germans those wonderful benefits.
Nope.
But what about the Holocaust? What about Auschwitz? Well, I did say at the beginning of this video that victors write the history books. I am
Not really sure that the 6.5 million Jews who were slaughtered by their own government and handed over by their own people considered themselves victors.
personally a Holocaust denier. It's very clear to me that the events of the so-called Holocaust were very exaggerated.
No, the Nazis kept really good records. We can go to their records. We've got photos.
I don't believe that there were gas chambers and evil Nazis and all that crap.
I'm done. I'm just done. Because we can go and dig up the bones. We can talk to people who were alive, who lived through it. We have their diaries. Not just a couple, not a dozen. We have the diaries and evidence and the bodies of millions of murdered people. I don't care if you have a cute little girl's voice. Right? Unlike the movies, true evil, like this video, can sound really cute. It can be very appealing. This is demonstrably false. Right? You can read the accounts of people. Read Night by Elie Wiesel. Read Schindler's List. This is, the American public education system, in order to push a political agenda to make everybody vote Democrat, has stopped teaching people to think for themselves, to double check. You hear somebody say, there was no Holocaust, and they don't know how to go look it up. They don't know how to go find the photos and the evidence. They don't know how to double check. So it's just, who's the most popular person telling me something? Who's got the most likes on Facebook? That must be true. Don't be that person. Go find out for yourself. I'm exhausted. I've driven 6 hours today, and I'm still so pissed off about this that I will try and get a couple good links to proof to the contrary, actual visible evidence, and put it in the description when I upload this.
I have a video planned in the future of why I deny the Holocaust. However, in the meantime, if you want the truth
I'm
right now,
evil.
I encourage you guys to check out these two documentaries, The Greatest Story Never Told and Hellstorm. I have links to these in
I'm
the
a puppet of
description
Satan.
below. If you guys watch
Look,
these
I have links. That
documentaries
means
or
I
have
must
seen
be
them
telling the
before,
truth.
Tell me what you think down in the comments. I personally love them and highly recommend them. Thanks for watching,
don't
guys.
care.
And here's a short video clip to wrap things up.
Wir sehen darin dann erst den endgültigen Sieg. Denn wir haben ja einen anderen gesehen. Sie haben ja vor 20 Jahren scheinbar gesiegt, was ich bin aus diesem Sieg geworden. Daran ist nicht gelaufen. Elend und Jammer werden nun eingeführt. Sie haben den Kampf nur gekämpft, ihre verfluchte Zukunft ersiegt. Die Gefahren überziehen. Zeit macht verwalten.
Evil capitalism! Evil capitalism! this Reich of Peace. Graveyards are peaceful, asshole. I'm done. Okay, that was my thoughts. I'm going to go look up really quick some links to actual evidence of the Holocaust. And thank you for listening. You asked me for my feedback on this video. There you go. Oh my gosh. Big takeaways on this one. Go to original source material, right? Don't listen to this apologist satanic hack telling you how good Hitler was. Don't listen to somebody telling you somebody's bad because somebody calls them a name because they're racist. Go read what they say. Go listen to what they say. Go look at the evidence, right? Jesus said you can tell a tree by its fruit. No tree bears bad fruit and no bad tree bears good fruit. And the Nazis slaughtered and tortured and terrorized their way across 2.5 continents. That's the fruit you can tell them by. Did they think they were good? Yeah, almost all bad guys think that they were good. That doesn't make you good. You can be wrong. You can care about your people and want to advance them, and if your definition of advancing them is genocide against somebody else, unless God tells you they all need to go, you're wrong. And that's only happened to one place ever, and that was specific people in Canaan. One time. That's it. Wow. Well, that was not what I thought I was going to be dealing with today. I had to do a book review for a fellow author. That was the biggest thing I thought I had to do today. So I'll get this uploaded. Thanks for watching. Hope we learned something. And as always, if you have a thought, you have a question, let me know, and we'll get through it. 7-minute video, 47-minute breakdown. Eek.